Boker Tov, today's daf is daf Chof Beis in Sanhedrin as we learn for Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael. Nasunim Basar Vashivya. Says the Mishnah, Ein Rochven al Suso. You don't ride on the king's horse. You have to show him respect. You have to show him reverence. Vein Yoshven al Kiso. You don't sit on his throne. Vein Mishtamshim B'Shavita. You don't use his scepter. Vein Rowan Osok Shumastaper. You never gaze upon him when he's getting a haircut. It's embarrassing. It's like very private. Velok Shu Oram. Certainly not when he's naked. Velok based mechers, not when he's in a bathhouse. Shenemar. Why? Why? All these points are to show him respect and reverence. Shenemar Som Tasam Alecha Melch. You shall put a king upon you. Shetei Maso Alecha. His fear should be upon you. In other words, you show him great respect. It's not proper to look at that. In fact, they say there's certain places where Rabbonim get haircuts or use the facilities, the pool or the gym, whatever it is. That they have certain hours just for Rabbanim, that other people shouldn't look at them when they're not properly clothed. Amar Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Yochanan. Avishag, Mutaras Hashem. Avishag was the young girl that was brought in to warm up David as he got older and frail. So she would be allowed to marry Shlomo if he so desired. Vasur Ladoniyo. Why? Because Shlomo was a king, the son of the king. In other words, we saw before that the king can marry a prior king's almana, or not an almana, or even use his assets, use his personal belongings. And Avishag was like a personal servant to David HaMelech. So Shlomo could have married her if he so desired. Vasur L'Neo, but Adonio, his older brother, who was not destined to be the king, he wanted to be the king, but he was not destined to be the king, would not be allowed to. With Teresa Shlomo, she would be allowed to marry Shlomo the Melech Hayak. He was the king. And the king can use a prior king's scepter. Scepter means, his staff, but it also means any of his belongings, any of his personal items. But she couldn't marry Adonio the Hedyahu because he was a commoner. And a commoner is not allowed to use the belongings of the king. Avishag, what was the story of Avishag? Hamelech David Zaken Babayam. David Melech got older. By the way, this is this week's Haftorah. This Shabbos is Haftorah. Hamelech David Zaken Babayam got older, and he was cold and he seemingly frail. Vayomer lo Avodav, and his servants told him, Yivak Shel Melech, let's bring a young woman to keep him warm, as a servant. By the way, this idea of Hamelech David Zaken Baba Yamim was, but two Admorim were once walking, and one said to the other, "What are you running so fast for? You're 70 years old already." Hamelech David Zaken Baba Yamim, when he was older already, he needed to be cared for. He couldn't run around. Why? You're 70. What are you running around for? He said, "Well, David HaMelech had Adam HaRishon's last 70 years. The story of David was not supposed to live, and he got the last 70 years of Adam HaRishon. This is my first 70 years. I still got a lot of gas in the tank. I still got a lot of fuel in the tank. But anyway, I said, Yivakshu, let's seek a young girl to keep him as a servant, to keep him on Biksiv. By Vakshu Nariyafa, they seeked out a nice young pretty girl. Biksiv Anara Yafad Ma'od. She was very pretty. She was a servant. She served the king. She was like a Filipino. Say when she served him, and she serviced him, whatever he did. Amra, she said, Ninasman, let's get married. He didn't. The pasuk says there. The Gemara here doesn't quote her. It's at the end of the pasuk says, "V'hamelech lo yida." The king did not sleep with her. She just served him. She was just a nice young girl to take care of his needs, but she didn't sleep with him. So she said, Amra Nasman, let's get married. Amra lo, seriously, yeah, I'm not allowed to get married to you because I've already got 18 wives. We saw yesterday that he had a total of 18 wives, right? He first had the 6 in Hebron, and then he completed the 18, a full set of 18. Says, I can't have any more. Amra alei, so she said to him, chasva gana nafshe, when the ganav has nothing to steal, l'shlam he says, I'm a man of peace, when he's nothing to steal. Meaning, since, so to speak, she was like making fun of him. Oh, you can't perform anymore as a man, so therefore you're telling me that, I'm not allowed to marry you. The reason is you're trying to hide the fact that you couldn't consummate anyway. That's what she was like making fun of. Amr lahu. So he told them, Kirli Bathsheba, call my wife Bathsheba. Because it says Vatavo Basheva Elamelech, she came, Hachedra, came into that room. Amar Bira Amarav Ba'osasho at that time, Kincha Basheva, B'shloshes Rei Mapos. She wiped herself with 13 towels, meaning he had Bia with her 13 times. Rashi quotes the pasuk, the whole pasuk. If you look at Rashi, Basheva, Shabale Yugim Bios, Umakanechas Bein Tashmushmi. She wiped herself between each and every time that they slept together. It's got 13 words in this pasuk indicating that it happened 13 times. And he proved to her that it's not that he couldn't perform; it was simply that she can't take another wife. By the way, if you count the words in the pasuk, there's taka 13. Bas Sheva, even though it looks like it's two separate words, I have a granddaughter, Bas Sheva. Maybe she doesn't be well. So I always say, is that two words or one? Bas Sheva, is it one word or two words? So you see Rashi, the way they write it, many times it's written, so to speak, as two words with a space in between, but it's one word, because if you count the words in the pasuk, there's only 13. And that's if you count Bas Sheva as one word, even though it's like separated. Bas Sheva, right? It's really, Rashi counts it as one word. All right, Amrav Shaman Baraba, Bo Rei Kamakoshin Gerushin. Look how difficult it is, divorces. Unfortunately, divorce is a terrible thing, but it happens a lot. So look how difficult gerushin is. This girl Avishag, she had yichud with him. She stayed with him in the room. Now we learned yesterday that even if it's not a doraisa, right? Even if yichud is not a doraisa on a pnuya, on a girl who's not married, you can't have yichud seclusion with a married woman or somebody that's usher to you. Okay, that we say they could at least it's hinted at in the pasuk. But yichud of a pnuya, of a non-married girl, is only drabanan. Still, they said they were mata that, and they didn't let him divorce. Now, of course, he could have divorced her, one of the 18, against their will. But they said, but still, he consulted with the rabbis. They were not matam, or at least min hashamayim. They said, don't get divorced, but better that you should have yichud with this girl. Amar B'Lazar, Kol Magash sister Mishon. If you divorce chas v'chlili your first wife, afilu mizbeach marlot vas, even the altar, the mizbeach, so to speak, cries for you. Shneimar says, v'zos shenis tasu, and this further you should do. Ksos dimas mizbeach Hashem. Cover the mizbeach Hashem with tears. Bechi v'anaka, with crying and sighing. Me'ein od pnos el mincha, because they won't listen anymore. Like, so to speak, the Rav will not listen anymore to your offering, a flower offering. He won't take any of your goodwill from you. In other words, once a divorce is taking place, so to speak, the mizbeach also does not help you. Like even the mizbeach is crying for you, it won't accept anymore your tears. It'll cry, but won't accept your offerings. Why is that? Pasuk goes on. Alki Hashem hayed, because Hashem testified between you and the wife of your youth, because you've rebelled against her. When you divorce your wife, you, so to speak, rebelled against her, and because of that, Hashem will not accept your offerings anymore. And this young woman that you divorced, that you rebelled against, she is your friend, and the wife of your covenant. A man's wife does not die, unless he owes money, either he stole it or he owes money to somebody and he doesn't pay. If you don't have what to pay, the pasuk says, Mishlei, Lama yikach mishkafcha mitachtecha. Why will they take your bed from underneath you, meaning his wife? Now, this is a difficult piece to understand, and we've explained this before. Other times when we learned this memory, we've had it in several places. You see on the side, he quotes Rosh Hashanah and Zvachim. It says a man's wife only dies if he owes money and doesn't pay it back. Now, why would she be responsible? Why should she die if he owes money and doesn't pay it back? Says Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, we're not talking about a case where the woman is innocent. This woman was deserving of death. We're talking about a case where she was deserving of death for some sin that she committed. She committed some terrible sin and she's deserving of death. However, when the Rebbeinu Shalom makes a cheshbon, should we take this person away from the world or not? We look, listen, Rebbeinu Shalom can say, okay, she's deserving of death, but what about her husband and her children? That maybe they need her. So maybe in his chus, and he needs his wife, and he's a good guy, so maybe in his chus, she should live. Fine, okay. So she was deserving of death, but Hashem let her live because of the husband. That if the husband does not show any hakara satov, if somebody lent him money, doesn't pay it back, right? There's a cove. So he is what we call a kafui tofa. He doesn't appreciate what people do. Who does more for a man than anybody else? His wife. She takes care of him. She cooks. She keeps the house. Everything. She keeps the house secure. She keeps the religion in the house, so to speak. Right? She takes care of everything. If he doesn't have any akaras hatov, so then she shouldn't be allowed to live in his chus. He's not makar tov. He's a kafui tov. He's a person who doesn't appreciate what somebody has done for him. So if he doesn't deserve that she should live on his account, and therefore she dies. That's how Chaim Shmulevitz explained this member. Otherwise, it's very hard to understand. If a first wife dies, it's as if the base of Mikdash was destroyed in his day. In other words, we can't imagine what it was like. We know the base of Mikdash was destroyed. We don't feel it the same way today. We go to the Kotel, we're living here, we're living in Yerushalayim, so we don't feel, so to speak, the Churban base of Mikdash as if it happened. But if a person's wife dies, his first wife dies, it's as if the base of Mikdash was destroyed in his day. Shenemar, Ben Adam, Hineni Lokech Mimcha, I'm taking for you the desire of your heart, of your eyes, right? I'm taking you the thing that your eyes desire. But Magefa, I'm taking it away in a plague. You won't mourn, or you will cry. And your tears will not come. What do we speak about? I spoke to the people. This is all in Yecheskel. Spoke to Yecheskel. In other words, he's saying that he's comparing the death of a wife to the Churban of the Beis Mikdash. I spoke to the people in the morning. But Thomas Ishti Be'erev, and my wife died at night. Again, here the Ishti is referring to this is a metaphor for the Beis Mikdash. I am desecrating the Mikdash. I am destroying the Beis Mikdash. I'm desecrating the Beis Mikdash. The pride of your power. The desire of your eyes. So what do you see here? That the desire of your eyes, which is the Beis Mikdash, is compared to the wife. So if a wife dies, it's as if the Beis Mikdash was destroyed. Amar of Alexandria, call Adam, with the widest lines on the page. Call Adam Shemeis Ishta B'Yom, if Chas v'Chlila, a man's wife dies in his time. Olam Choshech Bado, his world turns dark. Shenemar or Choshech Ba'alo. Alo, his tent means his wife, right? Shuvu Lechem La'alechem means your wife. The pasuk in Chumash, right? Shuvu Lechem after Matan Torah, it says that Shuvu Lechem La'alechem to your tent means your wife, and or the light turned to darkness in his tent if his wife's gone. V'neiro alav yidach, and his lamp, right? His light was put out. Rabbi Yosef Ruchnina Amar Psiosa Miskachev. Not only that, when his wife dies, not only is the world turned dark for him, but he physically becomes weak. His steps get shortened. Shenemar Yatzru Tzadei Ono. The steps of his power will be more constrained. In other words, he'll lose something. He'll lose some power when his wife dies. Also, his counsel falls apart. He doesn't think straight. Shenemar Batashlicheu Atzaso, meaning his own counsel will leave him, will part from him. And he won't be as bright as he was before. So when it comes to man and wife, we got into this because we were talking about David HaMelech, not divorcing one of his wives, rather taking Avishag and not sleeping with her, just using her as, like, so to speak, as a Filipino, helping him. So we talk about divorce and how difficult divorce is. It's a terrible thing. It's a difficult thing. Obviously, sometimes it's necessary, but it's a difficult thing, and the Mizbeach cries, etc. And if a person's wife Chas v'Chila dies, then it's like the world, like the Beis Mikdash was destroyed in his time. He becomes weakened and feebled, etc. But making the marriage in the first place, we have here the Gemara says, to put man and wife together, right? To make to match them up is as difficult as splitting the Red Sea. Shnemar Elokim Moshe b'Chinim Bais. Hashem puts the single people together in the house. Motzi Asirim, he takes out the ones who are bound up, and he puts them bekosherosos and puts them into prosperity. That's what the Moshe means. Motzi Asirim, because he takes them out of out of being bachelors or bachelorettes, or whatever, and turns them into prosperity by putting them together. The Gemara, you're saying it's so difficult. We learn 40 days before a boy is born. Baskol Yotzes, a Baskol comes out from heaven. Vomeres Bas Ploni Uploni. In other words, it's already predetermined. Why are you saying that Hashem finds it so difficult to match two people up based on their characteristics, etc.? Baskol goes out and then sets it up in advance. Says, look, Hashakam Pacific Rishon, Kam Pacific Sheni. We find the same Gemara in the beginning of Sota. The Pashup shot here is the Zivig Rishon, the first time they get married, it's based on Mazel. Hashem said, the daughter of Yankel will go to Shmerel. That's what he tells us. But that's only by the first time they get married. By a Zivik Sheni, by a second marriage, then it's based on their characteristics. And are they a good match? Doesn't always work out there too. Amr Shmuel Bar Nachman, L'chol yesh tmura. There's a substitute for everything, chutz meishes, except for the wife of one's youth. That cannot be replaced. Shneimar v'eishes neurim kitemos. Will a man reject the wife of his youth? And there's nothing like that can be replaced. Person can get married later on in life, and other things can happen, but there's nothing like the marriage of his youth. Masal Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yitzchak Brei, Rabbi Yehuda taught Rabbi Yitzchak his son, a person doesn't find calmness and peace of mind except from his first wife. Shenemar Yihi Makorach Baruch, your fountain should be blessed. The Sameach Be'eshes, and you'll be happy Me'eshes Nurayach, from the wife of your youth. That's when a person finds true peace and comfort and calmness, and peace of mind only comes from a man's wife of his youth. Amalo Kagomnan, give me an example. Amalo Kagonimcha, like your mother. Rabbi Yehuda told him, like your mother. Your mother was like that. Is like that to me. Aini v'amikri makila Rav Yehuda Rav Yehuda read to Rav Yitzchak his son the same dialogue. Rav Yehuda Yitzchak's son. He said to him, the pasuk that says in Koheles, "Emotzi and imar mimavas." I find something worse, more bitter than death. Esaisha, the woman, she's like snares and nets, like trying to catch you. He says, what's an example of that? Like your mother. So for one time he said, what's an example of somebody who could be, you're the fountain of your youth? That would be who's that? Like your mother. And then another time when he said, who's this terrible person, something worse than death? And what is the example of that? He says, like your mother. Okay, so which one was it? The answer is Miska Kiva. She had a quick temper, but she can easily be pacified with a nice word. In other words, she was quick-tempered. Sometimes she could be difficult, but she could easily be pacified. Amar Shmuel Bar Unya, Mishmeid Rav, Isha Golemi. A woman is like raw material. Bena Koresa's bris, Elul Misha Osakli. She only makes a covenant. She only, like, so to speak, signs a covenant or cuts a covenant with the one who turned her into a vessel. Pasuk says, the one who is your husband turned you into a full kli. In other words, she becomes a full woman when she gets married. Tana ein ish meis elul ishto. It's a famous klal, terrible thing. When a spouse dies, a man dies only to his wife. Of course, there's children, there's relatives, etc. Everybody is sorry when a man dies, but the truth is, who suffers the most? The wife. El ishto. Beinisha mesa el avala. Same thing. When a chas v'chila, a woman dies, who suffers the most? The husband. Einish mesa el ishto. Where do you find the first thing that a man only dies? Basically, meaning, of course, he dies for everybody. Everybody misses him. But the truth, the worst is for his wife. Shenemar vayomas Elimelech ish nami. In Rus it says Elimelech died, the husband of Nami. Of course, we already knew that Elimelech was her husband. But it's emphasizing that when Elimelech died, she lost her husband. That's the worst. Everybody else lost a friend, a father, a son, etc. But for the wife, she lost her husband. And when a woman dies, the husband suffers emotion. Emar va'ani b'voi padan. Right? What did Yaakov say? Va'ani b'voi. When I came for Padan, Mesa alai Rachel. Rachel died. Said, for me. What do you mean? It died for the whole family? No, but for me is the worst. Ein Ronasa. So the Mishnah said that you don't look at a king when he is, let's say, not in his proper honor, right? Ein Ronasa Kshumastaper. You don't look at him when he's getting a haircut, and certainly not when he's in the bathhouse, when he's naked, etc. A king needs a haircut every day, and many kings get that every day. So they always look perfect, right? Kohen Gadol, Me'erev Shabbos, Le'erev Shabbos. He gets a haircut before each new Mishnah. They changed the Mishmar in the Beis Hamikdash, the current, what do we call the Mishmar in English? What's the word, Michael? What's the word for Mishmar in English? The
The watch.
changing of the guard. Yeah, not guard. You have to watch. No, I don't mean watch it. Shift. The shift. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that word. The shift. The shift. They change the shift every Shabbos. So Erev Shabbos, to greet the new shift, the Kohen Gadol got a haircut. Kohen Gadol Erev Shabbos, Erev Shabbos. Kohen Hedyot, Achel Shoshim Yom. A regular Kohen at the time of the Beis Hamikdash needed a haircut every 30 days, not longer. His hair can go up to 30 days. We're going to talk in detail about that. But every 30 days. So Melech Mustafa B'chol Yom. How do we know Melech gets a haircut every day? Shneimar Melech B'yafyo Techazan Einecha. A king in his beauty should be beholden by your eyes. You should see him in his beauty. So he needs a haircut every day. As if it goes longer, it's not in his perfect state. Kohen Gadol Me'erev Shabbos Le'erev Shabbos. Amar Rav Shmuel Bar Nachman Rabbi Yochanan. Hol Mishmaros Mischajos, because the shift changes every Shabbos. So because of that, he has to look good for the new shift. Kohen Hedyot, a regular common Hedyot, not a Kohen Gadol. Echel Shoshim Yom, once every 30 days. It says, this is the pasuk in Yecheskel. Now, there's many psukim in Yecheskel which aren't exactly like, for example, it says there that the Kohen shouldn't marry an almana. Kohen could marry an almana. He can't marry a grusha. But okay, that was what they were knowing, or he was going a little bit further than was necessary. But Yecheskel does say, V'roshim lo yigalechu, they shouldn't shave their heads, right? They shouldn't shave their heads. In other words, they have to have some hair. Ufera lo yishalchu, but they shouldn't let the hair grow wild. Meaning, fera means longer hair, and they shouldn't let it go on. Kasom yikisim was shame. They should pull their heads. They should get a haircut. Okay. So what does para mean? It says they shouldn't shave their heads, right? But they should let it grow, but not too long. Upera lo yishalechu. Yolav para mean nazir. We learn that from Nazir. Sivach, it says over here, para lo yishalechu. Even though this is again an example of where you're learning Xavier Shava from Torah to Nach, right? Normally it's not that, but at least it gives us, when it comes to things that we don't know what to translate, and that's what the meaning is. We're not learning like a halacha, like, is a machlokas or this or that. We're trying to learn what does the word mean? So you say over here, it says, Sivach by Nazir, it says, here it says by Kohen, it says, Pera lo yishalecha. By Kohen, it says, don't let his hair grow too long, not too long. Uksiv Hasim, it says there, Gadel Pera Sa'arosho. The Nazir is not supposed to get a haircut. Gadel Pera, right? He has to let it grow to Pera, to full length. Let's call that full length. Sa'arosho, he's not allowed to get a haircut. Malahol and Shloshim, just like by Nazir, what's the minimum that a Nazir has to be? 30 days. He can be a Nazir for longer if he so chooses, but minimum is 30 days. So he's got to let it be at least 30 days of growth. Afkan Shloshim. So here also, when it says Pera lo yishalechu, Pera it should be 30 days, but not longer than that. So Pera means 30 days, as we see for Nazir. Utnanami, Stam Naziris is 30 days. Stam Naziris is 30 days. So we know if Naziris is 30 days and he has to let the hair grow for 30 days, so Pera means 30 days. Bahasuma, how do we know if Nazir is 30 days? Amar Master, the pasuk says, Kadosh yeh, he should be holy. Yeh is how much by gematria? How much is yeh in gematria? 10 and 5, 10 and 5, that's 30 plus and havik. That's when you know that a Nazir is 30 days. And that's the translation of Pera, that it's got to be a growth of 30 days. And here he says, Pera should be 30 days, lo yishalechu, not longer than that. So maybe it shouldn't even be 30 days. Maybe lo yishalechu. Maybe it means you should Pera lo yishalechu. Don't let it even get to 30 days. Maybe it should be less than 30 days. Rashi says, so maybe it means not even 30 days. This is Rashi on the next word. Iksiv lo yishalechu Pera. If it would say, don't let it grow, don't let it go long till Pera, don't let it reach 30 days. Maybe you're right. And it means not even 30 days long. Hashdach Siv Upera says Peralav, it should be Pera, which is 30 days. Shluch, but it shouldn't be longer than that. Okay, so that's the idea. So we know now a king gets a haircut every day. Kohen Gadol every Friday. A lot of Rabbanim get haircuts on Friday, right? Haircut covered Shabbos, right? So they got for the cover the ship. Regular Kohanim, once in 30 days, but no longer. It's got to be every 30 days, right? You have to have an appointment. Make sure it's every 30 days. So why don't we get haircuts? Why don't the Kohanim today get, you see Kohanim who have long hair, right? Why don't the Kohanim get haircuts today every 30 days? Right? Just like wine. My yain bisman bia hudaser. Remember, the Kohanim are not allowed to be drunk, right? They can't come into the base and make this drunk. They'll desecrate the service in the temple. So we just like by wine, it only applies when they can come into the base of Mikdash. There's no base of Mikdash today. Bisman bia, when they come to the base, there's only aser. So bisman bia shari. Even a Kohen in the time of the base of Mikdash, they didn't all serve all the time. Remember, there were 24 different groups of families that they served twice a year, right? Twice a year, they basically served twice a year. And then in those families, they were split up by day, right? So a Kohen more or less knew when he had to serve. If he didn't have to serve, he wasn't due to serve for a few months. He went on vacation, went on serve, he could drink all he wants. It's only when they come into the base of Mikdash, they couldn't be drunk. So he said to us, that says, just like, you're asking, why don't Kohanim have to get a haircut today every 30 days? The answer is just like wine. Just like wine, it's only when they come into the base and make dish. That's mutter. Apure Rosh also to have long hair, bisman biasar. It's only forbidden to have long hair longer than 30 days growth. Only bisman bi, only when they came to the base of Mikdash also. Shlobisman biashari. Okay. B'yayin shlobisman biashari. Is it really true that wine is only also when they come into the base of Mikdash? Shalobas mami, when they're not coming to the base of Mikdash, it's mutter for them to drink wine. Meaning, Kohanim can get drunk all they want when they're not serving. But Tanya, Rabbi said, yes, Omrani Kohanim asur l'shos yain la'olam. Kohanim are never allowed to drink wine. They're never allowed to drink wine. They need to get drunk. Avama asa, what should I do? Why should they never drink wine? Because base of Mikdash will be rebuilt. And maybe it'll be rebuilt tomorrow. The Sfar in Kabbalah we have that the third base of Mikdash that Yechezkel describes will just come down from heaven. It won't be schnored over here down in this world. It'll just come right down. So we might find out one day the base of Mikdash is here and they got to go serve. So they shouldn't drink wine. Avama. So what should I do? Shetakanaso kalkulaso. The repair is from their ruin. And Rashi says, take a look at Rashi. Rabbi Omer Ani up above by the Gosabach. Omer Ani a Kohen also lishos yain laolam shnever. Reish B'Isaac Tani Hachi Hamaka Mishmaraso Mishmaras base of. If he knows which shift he's due to serve, right? Shalo, and he knows that if a guy keeps a calendar and he knows that even though the base Mikdash is not here right now, but I know today is the 8th day of Teves, and I know that this is my when the base Mikdash will be rebuilt. It's my serve, so he shouldn't drink wine. Also behind Kolos Hayom. Afis manaseh, makar mishmaraso, ve'ena makar beisav. If he knows which mishmar, but he doesn't know which group he's in, which family he's in, also calls Shabbos, and he can't work that whole Shabbos. In other words, if he knows which day he's supposed to serve, he can't drink wine on that day, even though there's no base mikdash now, because maybe the base mikdash will come down, and he has to serve. If he doesn't know which day, but he knows which week, because he knows which shift he's in, but he doesn't know which family he's with, that whole week he can't. If he doesn't know it all, also, let's just say should never drink one else. Shema achshav smanum, because he doesn't know. Maybe the basement, maybe it'll be his chance, even though he only serves basically 2 days a year. But maybe today is that day, so he can never drink. That's what the Tanakama said. Rebbe Omer, I'm continuing on in Rashi. Rebbe, the Divrei Masel, Rebbe Omer Ani. In Baralach, if you have to be concerned about that, Shemi Yibon, if you're worried, maybe basement destroyed. Also be ayin, also in Laolam, he'll never be able to drink. Rafilu Makir, even if he knows which day it is, Shenachsman Vishraso, Shema Yibna, maybe right. Rafilu Makir, Sheino Achshavman, even though he knows that this is not his mishmar, right? Shemi Bana. So you'll say in Baralach Shemi Bana, Asman Lolam, Rafilu Makir. Even if he knows which day it is, Sheino Achshavman Mishraso, shouldn't drink at all. Shemi Bana, V'chol Kor Mishtaka Chayalav. In other words, if you're going to be concerned that maybe the base Mikdash will be rebuilt, and it'll be ulcer. So even if he knows that today is not his day, then maybe it'll be rebuilt, and you're going to go looking for all the various families. Which one is he with? Which Kohanim family he's with? Which shift he's on? But it might turn out that whoever's available should come right now. So maybe you shouldn't drink at all. Rashi goes on. Churban Abayis, the Churban Abayis, the destruction of the base of Mikdash. Shekulkulan. That ruined everything. that decimated them. That's calamity. The Irvav and mixed it all up. Seder Mishmarasan, Shahaya Osram Diyayim. The old Seder, they knew when they can't drink. Now everything is mixed up. Everything, the calamity base Mikdash isn't here anymore. Everything is mixed up. Bisman Mishmarasan, Shahaya Osram Diyayim, Bisman Mishmarasan. Then they knew. Matir and Shalobisman, before they knew when it's mutter and when it's not. Who taking this itself, this whole mixed up, is the Takana Achshav. But I'm not concerned. In other words, the fact base Mikdash, when the base Mikdash was here, they knew which day they were going to serve, which day they wouldn't. They knew when they could drink and when they couldn't. But now that the base Mikdash isn't here anymore, we're not concerned that maybe the base Mikdash will be will be rebuilt right away, and therefore they can drink because they don't know. Rabaya back in the Gemara, in the 8th or 9th line in the wide lines. Rabaya, come on, Shasi Kani Chamra Edna. Today, when Kohanim could drink all they want, who does that go like? A Rebbe. It's like Rebbe who says that I'm not concerned about the base Mikdash will be rebuilt suddenly and they're going to be looking for Kohanim who aren't drunk. You can't be concerned about that. He's not concerned about that. That goes like Rebbe Mechlal the Rabbana and Asri Smashma that the Rabbanan hold that it's usher to drink wine bismanaseh. Again, why? Because maybe the base Mikdash will be rebuilt, and even if they know the day and this isn't their day, or they know the week this isn't their week, maybe they don't know anything. Maybe they won't know which day. It's most Kohanim today. If you ask Kohanim today, nobody knows which mishmar they're attached to, which family they're with, and therefore they can never drink wine. So what do you see over here? So you see over here that what did we start off with? The question was, why shouldn't Kohanim be forced today to get a haircut every 30 days? Why shouldn't they be forced? So we said, well, it's like drinking wine. Just like wine is only when they serve. When they're not served, they could drink wine. So the same thing, since they're not serving, they could get haircuts. They could let the hair grow, right? Like wine, just like wine is only also when they're serving. When they're not serving, like now, they're not serving. So they could drink all they want. So the same thing with haircuts. Yeah, but that's only according to Rebbe. Rebbe says they could drink all they want now because he's not concerned the base Mikdash will be rebuilt in a split second. But according to the Rabbanan, it's mashma, they can't drink wine today. So if they can't drink wine today, because maybe the base Mikdash will be rebuilt, so they shouldn't be able to let their hair grow wrong too. And if we go back to our kasha, they should have to get a haircut every 30 days. Yeah.
They can drink at night because there's no services.
So it depends how much they drink. We'll see about that. Depends how much they're going to drink. But they can't get drunk because it might take them a little longer to get there. So the point though is that they can't drink today, or say at least they can't drink today during the day. They can't drink today during the day because maybe it'll be rebuilt. So the same thing is should have to get a haircut. So you see that they can't drink today, so therefore they should also have to get haircuts every 30 days. So the says, no, there the reason is maybe the base Mikdash will be rebuilt in a split second. You need a coin who's fit to work. If he's drunk, they won't be able to work. So therefore, if all the Kohanim were drunk, they wouldn't be able to find somebody to do the work. Hachanami being a Kohen royal avoda. Here also, you need a Kohen who's fit to do the work, who's fit to do the service in the base of Mikdash. And if he has long hair, he can't do it for Leka. Says no. Very simple. You get a barber in 2 minutes. One of these fast barbers in 2 minutes, he's fit. Give him a haircut real quick. It's very easy to get a haircut, right? If you have long hair, get a haircut right. Even if base Mikdash, pardon?
A Kohen, it's got to be styled.
It's got to be styled, but he can get a quick haircut. Give him a half an hour, he'll get a haircut. So the base Mikdash is rebuilt, fine, give him a haircut. But if the guy's drunk, what's he going to do? It's also possible there, if he's a little bit drunk, let him sleep it off a little bit vile. Rav Acha says, Dorach Mil, if he was drunk and he walked a mile, or Vashina Kosher, where he took a little nap, Mafigan Asayayan, that dispels the effects of the wine. So what's your answer? It says Kohanim shouldn't drink today because maybe the base of Mikdash will be rebuilt, right? So the same thing, they should have to get haircuts every 30 days. He says no. There the reason is because if the base of Mikdash is rebuilt, there won't be somebody to do the avoda, right? So the same problem with the haircuts. He should have a haircut right away in case Mikdash. No, the haircut you can get a quick haircut. You could also dispel. And get rid of the effects of the wine also by taking a short nap. But he says, no, that's only if he drank a small amount. He had a revius of wine, let's say of undiluted wine, then sleep it off a little bit and take a walk and you'll be fine. But if he drank a lot, became drunk, Kolshking, certainly the derech derasa. Then if he walks more, that will knock him out even more. That will, put him away. Vishina mishakraso, and sleeping will make him more drunk. So the point is that the difference is between wine and getting a haircut. Even according to Rabbanan, remember, Rebbe says they can drink all they want today because everybody's mixed up and we're not concerned about Meher Yibana Beis Mikdash. But according to the Rabbanan, that says Meher Yibana Beis, maybe the Beis will be rebuilt right away. Maybe things will be right. And if they're drunk, they won't be able to serve. If they're all drunk, they won't be able to serve. And you say you sleep it off, that's only on a small amount, but on a large amount, they won't be able to serve. Maybe it'll take them a half a day or a night to sleep. They'll need 12 hours to sleep it off or whatever for their hangover. But a haircut you can get quickly. That's the difference. That's one answer. Rav Ashi Omar, there's a different reason. If they are drunk and therefore they desecrate the service, goes Rabbanan, the Rabbanan made Xera against them. So listen, you can't drink wine. Can't drink wine because if you drink wine and you're drunk when you do the service and the basement will be rebuilt, that desecrates the service. But if they have long hair, they're forbidden to have long hair, but that doesn't necessarily desecrate the service. Lo goes around the run and make Xera. When I says, well, that's not such a good answer. Meisvei, who says that if they have long hair, that doesn't desecrate the service? Meisvei. The following people are killed if they do this. Hure Rosh, if they serve with long hair, or Shtuyan if they're drunk. So Bishlam Shtuya Yayim, I understand why if they are drunk, they can't serve there. There's on the Tachsiv. The Pasuk says in the Chumash, Yayin v'shecher al teish, ato v'necha, when you come in, you shouldn't drink wine or strong drink when you come into the base of Mikdash. Below tamusu, and therefore you shouldn't die. It's mashma, if they come in drunk into the base of Mikdash, they will be deserving of death. How do we know that if they have long hair? Again, we saw the pasuk that says that pasuk in Yecheskel says paraloishlach, they shouldn't have long hair. Who says that they're deserving of death? The iskish kazian and the pasuk in Yecheskel, there's a hex between shtuya yain and purei rosh. It says they shouldn't shave their heads, but nor should they have long hair, only up to 30 days. And it says right afterwards, v'yayin lo yishtu, they shouldn't drink. Mashtu yayin, this is just like if they drink wine, they're deserving of death, as the pasuk in the Chumash says. Purei rosh b'misa, the same thing. If they have long hair, they're also chayiv death. Umina, and from there you see from this hekesh, mashtu yayin demachli, just like if they drink wine, you're saying there's a hekesh between drinking wine and having long hair. Just like if they drink wine and they serve, they're chayiv death. The same thing if they have long hair, they're chayiv death. And the same thing would apply to disgracing or desecrating the base of Mikdash. Mashri, the service in the base, Mashri Yain, the Machli Avoda, they desecrate the service. Paresh, the Machli Avoda. So if that's the case, you can't make the difference. You made the difference before that if they're drunk, it might take them a day or two to sleep it off, right? For the hangover. A haircut you can get in 5 minutes. That's why Kohanim are allowed to get haircuts today. Allowed to let their hair rather grow long today. Because if the base of Mikdash is rebuilt and you need a Kohen, give him a haircut and he'll be fine. But you might not be able to find a Kohen who's not drunk. Drunkenness could take a longer time to dispel. That answer works. But the answer is, but if you give an answer and say, well, the difference is that Shtuyayin disgraces the avoda, right? Disqualifies the avoda, desecrates the avoda, whereas long hair doesn't. Who says? Maybe just like the wine. If they're drunk, that desecrates the avoda, desecrates the service. The same thing per rosh. Therefore, this last answer that Rav Ashi gave is a kasha. But the first answer that we gave, that a haircut you can get quickly and you can't assuage the effect of being drunk for a long time, that answer still stands. I understand you're telling us a new halacha here, so to speak, that if you this idea that who said this? How do you know that if a person has long hair? Pasuk says in the Chumash, if you have long hair, if you're drunk and you come to the base mikdash, do the avoda, you're chayiv of death. Doesn't say that if you have long hair, you're chayiv of death. So until Yecheskel came, who said that? So you're asking the Akash Rav Chisda, we didn't see this in the Chumash. Which halacha? Until Yecheskel taught us that. What's that? If a person is orel leiv, meaning he is a he's gone against God. Let's say he's over Avodah Zarah, right? And he's no longer he keeps the Torah. He can't serve in the base of Mikdash or oral basar. Or if he's uncircumcised, let's say his brothers died from Mila and he's uncircumcised, lo yavam mikdash should not come into Beit to service. Doesn't say in the Torah that an oral, since the oral can't eat carbon pesach, right? Many halachos about an oral can't do this, can't do that. But who says that an oral can't do the avoda? Doesn't say that in the Chumash. Right? Lo yavam yeshli ad lo boy Cheskel manam until Cheskel came and put it down wrote it down in the Sefer Cheskel. Who said it? Ella Gemara Gemirila. We had such a tradition that the ben nechar or labor or basar, whether he is whether he is has gone against God, whether he doesn't keep the Torah, or whether he's an oral basar, he's uncircumcised, that he can't serve. Right? And he supported it by writing it down, so to speak, by putting it in his sefer. We have such a Kabbalah that a person who does the avodah with long hair is deserving of death. And he put it down in the pasuk, right? But it didn't say it. He didn't say it specifically. It says right? That we didn't have such a tradition, so we learned it here out of a hekesh here. But in terms of the basic halacha, that a Pruei Rosh is chayiv misa, that if a Kohen with long hair is chayiv misa, we had such a tradition. It wasn't in the Chumash, and Yecheskel put it down in the pasuk. What does that mean? What does that mean that they should get a haircut? Tanakim in Tisporus Lulinus. They have a special kind of a haircut. It's called Lulinus. Midas person, what is that? Midas Muslas Amrab Yudam Shmuel. Tisporus Yechidah. It's a special kind of a haircut. Hechidami. What does it mean? A special kind of a haircut? It's a singular haircut. Amrabashi. Rosh Hashanah B'Tzadik Hashanah. The tip of one hair is next to the root of the other one. Very special haircut. I guess it takes a long time. You can't just give it with a quick shave. It's got to be a special kind of a haircut. Sholas Rebbe, Ezer Tispar Shel Kohen Gadol. What is the Tispar of the Kohen Gadol that he got a haircut once a week? Amalan Surum with Tispar Shel Ben Elasha. Look at the haircut of Ben Elasha. Who is Ben Elasha? Chasna Shel Rebbe Haya. He was son-in-law of Rebbe. And he was wealthy. And Rashi says, he paid a lot of money, and they taught him how to do that haircut. Tanya Rabbi Omer, Lo al Chinam Pizer Ben Elashes Mosef. He didn't spend his money. He didn't throw out his money for nothing. Elikade Laharas Bo to Sparshal Kohen Gadol, to be able to show Kide Laharas Bo to Sparshal Kohen Gadol. So he paid a lot of money. So he paid a lot of money, so they should teach him that haircut. But of course, if he himself had that haircut, that means that somebody else gave it to him. Like the old line, when you go into a barber shop that you don't know, unfamiliar with, and they see several barbers, which barber do you want to choose, right? Which barber do you want to choose? You don't know. You take the one with the worst haircut, because the ones with the better haircuts got the haircut from him. Yeah. You understand? So if you want to choose which is the best barber, get the one with the worst haircut, right? The one with the better haircuts that was given by the one with the worst haircut, right? So so over here, Ben Elasha learned how to do this this special haircut, this haircut called Tispar Lulinus, and it was the haircut that the Kohen Gadol got, and he learned how to do that. Either he learned it and taught it to a servant who gave it to him, or he was giving that haircut. It says, Mashma, look at the haircut of Ben Elasha, like the one that he himself had. He wanted to learn that from the Kohen. Hanalach Kohen Gadol. That ends this parak. Let's just see if we have a few more minutes to see the beginning of tomorrow's daf. Dina Mamnas B'Shlosha. Tomorrow's Thursday, and Friday we daven at 6 because it's Tainus, Seaboard. So for the rest of this week we'll continue at 5:15. Next week we'll be back at 5:20. But this week we'll continue again at 5:15. Dina Mamnas B'Shlosha. So we learned in the first parak that Dina Mamnas can be done with three hedyotos, right? We're talking about loans and things like that. So you shouldn't close the door in front of Lovim, and they'll say, oh, you need a mumcha and this and that. So we said, Dina Mamnas could even be judged with 3 commoners. Okay, how do you get such a judge? Now, how do you get such a court? So we'll see that if you had regular courts and that was the main court in town, etc., then maybe you can't fight about it. But the push shot here is that we're talking about where they just wanted to get 3 guys to be their judges. Zebor Lechet, this one chooses one judge for him, Zebor Lechet, and the other one chooses the 2 litigants chooses a court. Vishneim Borinlen Odechet, and together the two litigants will choose the 3rd one, Divra Meir. Now, Rashi points out right away that it sounds like each one chooses a court for himself. This one chooses, there's court A, B, and C, different courts in town. And one litigant chooses court A, one litigant chooses court B, and then together they choose the third court, C. So what do you need 3 courts for? 3 courts means there's 9 people, 9 judges. All you need is 3. The Gemara is going to ask that, and the Gemara is going to come out. No, we mean here that they choose individual judges, right? So litigant, that's Zeb Lechet is abbreviated as Zabla, right? Zabla or Zibla. That's a famous thing. You choose one, and I'll choose one, and together we'll choose the third one. That's what Rav Meir says. No, what they do is this: I choose my judge, you choose your judge, and together those 2 judges will choose a third judge. We may not be able to agree on a third judge, but if I choose one and you choose one, together they will choose the third one. Each litigant can say, wait a minute, he's got what we call, I can disqualify this juror without cause. You're allowed a certain amount to reject certain jurors without cause. So each one could possibly say, I could say, I don't want your judge. That's only this mansion maybe so that you can't, if they are, you can only disqualify them if you can prove that they are relatives, right? Relatives of one of the litigants or one of the Adim, Opsulan, or they're puzzled for some other reason. But if they are Sherin or Mumchen, and we means that if they're Sherin, there are really Mumchen, like Mara is going to say, or Mumchen may be Bezin, that they are certified by a court, that they are valid judges, and you can't pass them. Again, Zet Postal 8 of Shilzet. Each can say, listen, I don't trust your witness. The Zet Postal 8 of Shilzet, no. That's only Bisman maybe on that's only if you can prove that the Adam are related to either to each other or to somebody, one of the litigants. Opsulan, or they are postulatus for some reason, like they're cheaters or whatever, they've been proven liars. And say if they're kosher, you can't passel them. So we come out that as long as you can't prove that they are psulalatus, they're apostle, or that they're relatives, according to the Chachamim, that's how it works. The Chum say each litigant chooses one judge, and then together those 2 judges choose a third judge, and that's how they judge this case. All right, from tomorrow we'll pick it up from the beginning of Gemara on Daf Chaf Gimel. Have a good day.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.